is the minimum standard for human life in this country in terms of comfort level, access to food, access to healthcare. Let's maybe make that shift of moving from civil rights to human rights, because not enough people are being taken care of under the civil rights framework.
Generally, how are narratives holding our communities back, and how are narratives resulting in violence and discrimination against our communities?
We're not even allowing the truth to be told and these stories to be heard. That needs to happen first. And then after we've kind of done enough listening, can we actually even begin to have a discussion about the reparation itself? So I've always said the reckoning has to precede the reparation.
The lesson, of course, is that no time is the right time. But today we must ask, and we do ask, if not now, when?
So we don't want people to just come to the museum, feel as though they learned about something in the 18th century and say, wow, that was terrible. So happy it no longer happens, today. If that happens, we failed. We want people to be able to understand that history and then connect it to how Black communities are impacted today. So we can't talk about the history of housing inequality without talking about racism and slavery, or we can't talk about public health disparities without talking about the history of racism and slavery. We can't talk about all of these things without acknowledging kind of how we got there.
When I talk to people about Indigenous history, and they're like, oh, but that was so long ago. But actually, it wasn't that long ago. My great-grandparents lived through extermination.
The community that I come from, and part of the work that we've done over the years to serve farm worker women and other migrant women, it's really just been about fighting for the very basic rights that they should have. And most importantly, the recognition that these individuals are people, and that their value is not only derived from what they produce through the work of their hands, but that their value is also derived from who they are as people in this country and who they are as people in this world.
Why aren't enough of us talking about the intersectional embodiment that anyone who is a woman and of color and is of a sexual identity and so on and so forth may represent, and how do those people enrich and actually make the conversation bigger and more important when it comes to things like social justice and making a space anti-racist?
We need to listen to the people directly impacted to come up with appropriate responses and solutions.
We need to learn collectively. We need to put our voices all in the same choir at certain times and bring our individual range and pitch into choirs like this.
Equity, diversity, and inclusion and belonging is everyone's responsibility because it benefits all of us. And I think that we make a mistake sometimes when we talk about diversity, inclusion, and belonging as if we are only trying to create space for people of color, or only trying to create space for people with disabilities or other marginalized identities. That is not what we're doing. We are creating an environment where all just translates to all, right? Where all of us can thrive and where all of us feel a sense of belonging.